Elisa, LaShell, Sanders, Arnie.
I am multidimensional, and so I speak in a very multifaceted way. You will hear me, Minister Gervin, watching from Leesburg. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. You'll hear me talk about things on a whole lot of different levels. My brother Mike is on. Thank you, Mike Wilson. You'll hear me talk about things psychological. Dontoria, thank you, sweetie, for watching with me tonight. You'll hear me talking psychologically. Sometimes I'll talk medically. Sometimes I'll speak to us emotionally. Sometimes I'll talk to us physically. Sometimes I'll talk biblically. Sometimes I'll talk scientifically. So listen, let me say this. I'll talk from every different angle. That doesn't mean that I'm negating one and favoring another. It's just that so many people watch from so many different facets of life. All of us don't believe the same. All of us don't hear the same. And so what I do on Mic Drop Mondays is I make sure that I cover issues from every sector that is possible for me to do, because sometimes people register things psychologically. Sometimes people register things medically. Sometimes they measure things emotionally, sometimes biblically. And so, hey, Kimberly, and so a lot of times I cover a whole different scope. It doesn't mean that I'm compromising. It doesn't mean that I'm taking away from one, but I really want us to get it from all different facets. So sometimes you'll hear me jumping over psychologically. Sometimes I'll talk about what happens to our bodies medically. Sometimes I'll talk about what happens to our soul spiritually. I'm going to be all over the place with that, because I want us to understand that when we go through things and we deal with things, we deal with them from every different angle. And so tonight you'll hear a lot of me talking. And so it's not to offend somebody if I talk more about one thing than the other. I'm multifaceted. I'm always going to talk from every different angle. But at the end of the day, I want you to leave here knowing that there is help, there is hope, and there is healing before you get off this broadcast tonight. Now, tonight's subject, thank you, Tiara, I appreciate that. Tonight's subject is a very highly sensitive one. I put a post up last night and so many people clicked it and shared it and talked about it. When you start talking about trust, you are talking about something that we all have dealt with. And now you guys that know me on Mic Drop Monday know that I keep it real. We are either one or two things when it comes to trust. Either we're the recipient of betrayed trust, somebody that we confided in, somebody that we trusted, betrayed our trust in some kind of way, or guess what? We were the person that betrayed the trust that somebody else had in us. And so, you know, a lot of times we're gonna, you guys know that I'm a teacher by nature. This is kind of the method that I speak about. I like to teach. So I always like to begin with definitions. So let's start by talking about the word trust. Trust is defined as the reliance on the integrity, on the strength, on the ability, or on the surety of a person or a thing. It's confidence. It's the person or the thing that you rely in. Trust is when you say, you know what, I'm not even going to second guess this person. I'm not even going to, question what they're talking about. I completely trust. I have faith in their integrity, in their strength, in their ability, in their surety. I trust them. Trust says, I know you won't lie to me. Trust says, I know you won't hurt me. I know you won't mistreat me. I know you won't undermine me. I know you won't manipulate me. I know you won't abandon me. I know you won't leave me uncovered. I know you won't leave me exposed or vulnerable. I know you won't make me look like a fool. I know that you won't take advantage of me. When we trust somebody, this is the confidence that we're putting in that person. It's the complete assurance that that person has the integrity, the strength, and the ability to cover us. Hey, Leslie, I'm so glad you're here and watching. I'll give you an example. We go to our doctors. We trust that when they evaluate our conditions and they tell us, take this 3 times a day for 7 days and you're going to be okay. We don't question them. We don't second guess them. We say, okay, if you say that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. Those of us that are in school, if our teacher or our professor says this happened on this date, this is how you do this problem, this is how you get to the conclusion, we don't question it. We trust them. Like I said, trust is a assurance. It's complete confidence and reliance in the integrity of somebody. It's complete trust in their strength, in their ability, and in their surety. We're saying, I'm not questioning you. I'm not second guessing you. You're not going to lie. You're not going to cheat. You're not going to uncover me. You're not going to manipulate me. That's trust. We just completely say to my doctor, I trust you. If you're giving me these pills, I'm not going to research them. I'm going to pop them. And in 7 days, I just believe I'm going to feel better just because you said it and I trust you. But here's what happens though. The first time that our doctor gives us something and it doesn't do what he says it's going to do. Thank you, Betty, for watching. The first time that they say they give us their medical opinion and that's not what they said, all of a sudden our trust starts shifting. My granny's on, hey granny. And so all of a sudden then the next time they try to give us medicine, the next time they try to say, oh, you just have the flu. Now, because what they told us the first time didn't measure up, now we're questioning their strength. We're questioning their ability. We're questioning our confidence, and their integrity has shifted because they told us something and we believed them and it didn't quite work out like that. That's not what happened. And so now all of a sudden we're looking side-eyed at them. Now all of a sudden we're looking, we got to read the prescription. Now all of a sudden we're saying, you know what? Let me call my sister because she dealt with this before. Let me get a second opinion. And that's how trust works. They'll tell us one thing and we believe them with all of our heart. We say, all right, you know what? Not questioning you. But then something happened and we say, whoa, wait a minute. You dropped the ball on that one. That's not what you said. That didn't pan out like you said it was. And all of a sudden, do you know what we start doing? Internally, mentally, that's right, Dontoria, we become cautious. That's right, Nicole. Sometimes we'll get a different doctor. All of a sudden, when whatever they told us didn't add up to what we thought, all of a sudden we start pulling back and we start saying, I don't care about their years and their degrees and how long they've been doing that. I trusted them with me. And now because they didn't do me right, because what they told me fell to the ground, something's wrong with that. So now I got to watch them closely. Now I'm not going to take their word and they're just going to tell me anything. I'm going to do my own research. This is what trust does. It slowly starts to unravel the confidence, the surety that we had in somebody, the faith that we had in somebody. And so tonight I'm getting ready to drop the mic about trust. And I hope you guys that are coming on are pressing the share button. Like I told you guys, you all can reach so many more people than I can. So do me a big favor if you have not already and hit that share button, because there's somebody that you work with, somebody that you're friends with, somebody that you're kin to, somebody that you worship with, somebody that might be dealing with trust issues. And hopefully by the end of this segment, whether they watch it with me live tonight or whether they watch it later, this is going to bring them help, hope, and healing. So make sure you guys are pressing the share button and helping me get this out to somebody else. I appreciate it. Thank you, Betty. I appreciate you for watching. Tiffany, I appreciate you for watching. Now, here's my first mic drop because I'm going to go ahead and get all the way in it tonight. The first thing when we talk about trust that we need to recognize is that our trust is an expensive gift that not everybody can afford. That's a mic drop, and somebody needs to type this into the comments. Our trust is an expensive gift that not everyone can afford. Hey Bruce, thank you for watching. I hope you guys heard me because that was my first mic drop. A lot of times we sling our trust around as if it's a 2-for-1 special, but I want you to understand here. Thank you, Victor, and I'm going to open it for questions later. The first thing that I want you guys to understand, hey Tangela, I appreciate you for watching. Again, this is my first mic drop. Trust is an expensive gift that not everyone can afford. Now, I know that we want to say, here is my trust. It is available to all of you all. But hear me when I give my mic drop one more time. Trust is an expensive gift that not everyone can afford. That's my first mic drop, because we have to understand, and I'm going to really give us some definitions. Hey, Mike, thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well. I'm going to really put some mic drops out there tonight about trust. Now, I told you guys I'm going to start dropping these mics pretty quickly tonight. And so as you all hear them, I love the love that you guys are putting on the screen. I appreciate it. Here's my second mic drop, and somebody needs to type this. Stop giving your trust away without checking the credit. Now listen, because I'm going to talk about this. I just said, number one, trust is an expensive gift that not everybody can afford. But number two, my second mic drop, stop giving your trust away without checking the credit. Y'all already know it's about to be real raw and relevant tonight, because you know if I'm starting off with these mic drops, I'm about to really go there. Now, I'm going to give you some practical wisdom tonight, but I wanted to take a second and let that sink in for you tonight. Some of us are giving away our trust, which I just said is an expensive gift that not everybody can afford, but we're giving it away without first checking the credit. Now, Elise, how is that even? I don't get how you make that happen. Listen, I hope you guys are pressing the share button, because I am really about to give an epiphany about something that I just got today. Now, I'm going to give you some practical wisdom. When you go to purchase something very expensive, 9 times out of 10, you don't have all of the money up front to pay for that item. 9 times out of 10, if you're going in, say, to buy a very expensive piece of jewelry or a vehicle, you don't walk in there with $35,000 in your pocket. That's not what you do. Usually what you have is a down payment. Oh, I'm going somewhere with that tonight. However, what you have to do is apply for credit. Y'all gonna hear me tonight, because this thing is going to be real. When you go to purchase something, and I hope you guys are going to make this connection, that you don't have all of the money to afford right then, what they do at that company is say, what we need you to do is apply for credit so that we can see if we can trust you with this item. Y'all better make the connection. I just said that your trust is a very expensive item that not everybody can afford. And then my second mic drop was, stop giving away your trust without checking credit. Now let me talk about this. There is a process. And if you hear some of these steps, please feel free to type this in as you hear them. There's a process that you have to go through when you need to apply for credit. It doesn't matter how attractive you are. It doesn't matter how nice you smell. It doesn't matter what kind of clothes you have on. You cannot walk into a jewelry store and want to purchase a $25,000 piece of jewelry and not have the cash and still turn around and walk out of that store with it in your hand without what? Without first applying for credit. Now I'm going to go somewhere with this. My husband has been in the car business for about 15 and a half plus years. And I used him as a subject matter expert today. I told you guys I always do my research. Thank you, Mother Heilig. I always do my research. And I wanted to know, I said, listen, I got an epiphany about something, and I just want to make sure that the way I'm thinking about it is correctly. I said, let me ask you about what happens when somebody wants to come to the car lot. He's a finance manager, and they want to purchase a $55,000 car, and they don't have $55,000, but they have a down payment. What has to happen before they can walk off the lot with that car? Well, listen, this is some mic drops, and I want to tell you all that the same thing that happens in the natural, we have to do this when it comes to trust. I hope you guys are pressing the share button, because I'm getting ready to drop the mic. So make sure that you guys are pressing the share button, because I'm going to say some things tonight that I am hoping is really going to help somebody. Well, the first thing that he said that you have to do when you want something that you can't quite afford, well, you got to understand those people don't know you. You're coming in saying that you want something. So the first thing that they have to do is you have to fill out an application. You have to put in your name, your phone number. They want your social security card. They want all these things about you. That's your private information. Listen to me. They need to know, wait a minute, first of all, who are you before I even become willing to extend my trust that you're going to walk off this lot with this expensive car and pay it? Who are you? So that's the first thing. The first thing that we forget to do before we start extending our trust to somebody is we don't even take the time to find out who they are. Who are you? What's your name? What's your family's name? Where do you live at? The first thing you have to do on that application, sweetie, you have to fill that thing out, and you have to disclose some private information. They need to know who you are. Number two, the next thing, before a dealership can extend credit to you for something like a car that you don't have all the money to afford, they need to know your work history. They want to know, what kind of job did you hold before? How much money were you making then? How many jobs have you actually worked on? Where are you working right now? And how much money do you make? Why? Because they need to know, can you afford to make the payments on this car? Oh man, I'm already talking good. So the second thing I want you to understand, before you extend your credit, which is your trust, your valuable possession to somebody, number one, you have to ask the question, who are you? And number two, what do you work? Can you afford this trust? Can you take care of this trust? I'm telling you, this is an epiphany. I hope you guys, thank you for saying that I'm dropping the mic. I hope you guys already are pressing the share button, because we already are in it. Number three, and this is getting good. Before you can walk off the car lot with this car, and they're saying, wait a minute, you can't afford this car. You don't have $55,000 in your cash, of cash in your hands. And I want to extend credit to you. And I just said that your trust is something that's very expensive, that everybody can't afford. And my second mic drop was, stop giving your trust away to people without checking their credit. Number one, I just said that you have to fill out an application, and you have to find out, who are you? Before I start giving you this credit, let me find out who you are. Number two, what is your work history? I need to know if you're able to make payments on this vehicle before I give it to you. Number three, there's a little space in there where they ask for references. Who else knows you? Y'all, I'm talking good tonight. Thank you. I am dropping the mic. Who else can vouch for your integrity? Who else can say that you're a good man? Who else can say that you're a good woman? Who else can vouch for the fact that you're faithful? Who else can vouch for the fact that when you say you're going to do something, you own up to what you're supposed to do? So who can vouch for you? Where are your references? And a lot of times we mess up in relationships. We mess up with people. We extend them our very expensive gift, which is our trust, and we haven't even tried to see, who are their references? Who else knows them? Who else can tell me, yeah, you can trust them, their credit is good? You know what? If she says she's going to do it, you better believe me, she'll do it. If he says he's going to do that, he's going to do it. Who else can vouch for you? You need references before you give this very expensive gift of your trust away. I'm telling you guys, this was an epiphany for me. When my husband took me through this application, this credit application, this is what has to happen before we extend credit to you. I said, oh my goodness, this is what has to happen before we give our trust away. Number four, he said, your credit score at least has to be decent. It does not have to be perfect, but it at least has to be decent. What am I saying? A lot of times we will extend credit to people and they don't even have decent credit. Their credit score is negative 20. And we're steadily saying, here you go. I see that you didn't pay on that car before. I see this car got repossessed. I see this had to get written off. I see your mom had to co-sign for this one. I see you had to do a buy one pay here. But we will still turn around. Thank you, Norma. We will still turn around even with that low credit score when we see that their references are saying, listen, he abandoned such and such. Listen, she left the old boy, kicking and screaming. Look. I'm just telling you, we will just extend our trust. I must be talking good, because every time my internet starts trying to do something crazy, I must be on to something. Hey, Natasha, thank you for that. Thank you, KN. I appreciate it. I'm on it tonight. I'm telling y'all, I am real, raw, and relevant. That's right, Granny. So like I said, number one, after you fill out that application, who are you before I give you my trust? Number two, where's your work history? What do you work at and how much money do you make? Because I need to see if you can afford this trust. Number three, where are your references? Who can vouch for you? Who knows you that can make sure they tell me that you're somebody that I'm able to put my trust in? Number four, is your credit score decent? Now, My husband says after you do all of this and you fill this paperwork out, what he then has to do is he has to find a lender to finance you. Y'all better hear what I'm saying tonight. He has to then negotiate with a bank, and now he has to convince them, listen, now that I know who they are, now that I see what kind of money they make, now that I have some references, now that I see that their credit score is decent, I need to know if you guys will extend credit towards them because they want this car. They don't have $55,000, but because I checked this, they filled out this application, I would like to know if you can finance them. And that's how we have to be about our trust. Like I said again, our trust is an expensive gift that not everybody can afford. And some of us have to stop giving our trust away without checking the credit. Now, after he finds a lender that is willing to extend credit, here's the next thing that happened. He says that you have to sign a legally binding contract. What? See, what happens is this contract says, I promise that I am going to take care of this car. I promise that I am going to make my payments. I promise that I am going to make my payments on time. In the event that something happens and I perhaps will be late, I promise that I will talk to you guys before I default on this loan. What happens with us in relationships is we don't want to scare people away, so we don't want to do anything that binds them to us. We don't want to bind them to us. No, we don't want to make them marry us. We don't want to make them get in a committed relationship with us. We don't want to make them say, no, is it me and you or not? What is this that we have going on? We don't want them to define the relationship. We don't want the commitment, because what we're saying is, but if I try to commit them, then they're going to say, that's okay, never mind. But what happens is, if your trust, like I just said, is an expensive gift that not everybody can afford, and that person really, really wants it, you better believe he's going to give you references. She's going to sign that agreement. She's going to say, listen, here is my score. Here is where I work. Here is how much I make. I am not afraid for you to ask my mama about me. I am not afraid for you to ask my sisters about me. I am not afraid for you to visit my church and find out what kind of person I am. I am not afraid for you to ask me about my financial situation. But what happens is we like to blame the other person. You all that follow me and that watch me know that I always say that you can't fix what you won't face. And what we do, especially when it comes to trust, we are so hell bent on blaming the other person that we don't realize, guess what? I have a part to play in this matter. There is something that I need to be doing on the first end. Did I give them a credit application to fill out before I just so quickly handed over my trust to them? Did I make them fill out an application? Did I tell them that they needed to tell me who they are? Who are your folks? Where your mom and them? Where did you grow up? Did I tell them that they needed to give me a work history so that I could see if they can even afford my trust? Did I tell them that I need some references? I need to know who can vouch for them. Did I look at their credit score and see if they bothered to pay anybody else? Because if they got a track history of lying to everybody else, if they have a history of abandoning everybody else, if they have a history for defaulting on relationships, guess what? Baby, I'm next. And so we have to do our part. So now let's go back to the car scenario, and I hope this is good to you guys. If you guys are hearing something out of this, I hope you guys are pressing the share button, because what I can promise you guys is so many of you guys are watching with me tonight, and I'm so excited. But I also hope that you guys are pressing the share button, because I promise you, when it comes to trust, there is somebody else that needs to hear this message. There is somebody else that can benefit from what I'm talking about tonight, because you know that you're in relationships, or you are around relationships, or you hear people that are in relationships that are dealing with this trust issue. Now, and this is where it gets good. So I asked my husband, who's in the finance business for 15 years, and I got this epiphany about comparing the car scenario to the trust. And I said, so what happens after you sign the contract? After you've checked the credit, you've checked the references, you've gave the information around, and you find a bank to finance this person, and you sign the contract, what do you do then? Well, guess what he told me? He said that you only have 2 payments that you can miss before the bank repossesses your car. The loan goes into default, and now there's a derogatory mark on your credit. What did I just say? Listen, that's a mic drop. When you sign the contract and say, I'm going to walk off this lot, they're going to trust me to walk off this lot with this car without having the full value, without having the money to give them, and you sign that contract to say you can trust me to pay, they only give you 2 payments that you can miss. And he said, and he's been in the car business, like I said, 15 plus years. What he says happens is the bank, because now it's out of the car lot's hand. The bank has financed you. The bank says you only have 2 times that you can miss payments. And what happens is, number 1, we're going to repossess your car. What we gave you because we thought that you were going to take care of it, what we gave you because we thought that you had the money, the finances to afford it, what we gave you because your references told us that we could trust you. We thought that you could handle this, but apparently you were not telling the truth. So number 1, we're going to repossess your car because clearly you cannot afford or handle what we're trying to give you. Number 2, your loan goes into default. That means all the things that they promised that they were going to do, they say, no, you didn't make good on your promise. And so now we're not obligated to make good on our promise. And number 3, now there's a derogatory mark on your credit. What am I saying on this mic drop Monday? When you give somebody your trust, there is an unspoken contract that is signed between the both of you all. You are telling that other person, or they are telling you, I am going to take care of you. I am going to honor you. I am going to deal with you with integrity. I am going to support you. I am not going to betray you, and I am not going to hurt you. But a lot of times, and here's my next mic drop, we keep giving the same people different opportunities to disappoint us. What? We keep giving the same people different opportunities to disappoint us. See, we won't do like the bank. The bank says, no, you made these commitments to me. The bank says, now you defaulted the first time, and then here we go again, because they're going to call you, they're going to send you letters, they're going to do everything they can to give you an opportunity to talk to them and say, all right, is there a problem? Is there something happening that we need to do? You have the opportunity to call them, to send them an email, to go by the dealership and say, listen, I think I'm going to be a little late this month, or looks like I might only be able to pay them. But no, you just keep going until you default. And so what happens is the bank will say, we can't trust you, give us our stuff back. What will happen a lot of times with us is people will take our trust, our expensive gift, and they will ruin our credit. They will take away our integrity, our trust. They will exploit us. They will demean us. They will humiliate us. They will shame us. They will embarrass us. And do you know what we do? I'm going to give it back to you again. I'm going to give it back. That's right, Nicole. And then we have the nerve to be shocked and offended. What do you mean you betrayed my trust again? What do you mean I caught you cheating, and then 2 weeks later I give you my trust again, and I see that you were texting somebody else, going to meet somebody else? Wait, what? What do you mean you stole this money from me the first time, and then I left my money in front of you, and then you stole it again, and now all of a sudden I'm saying, what happened? Listen, I'm telling you guys, and we're going to talk about something, because here is what messes us up a lot of times. And this is my next mic drop. There is a difference between trusting somebody and forgiving somebody. Y'all better hear me, because a lot of times we have broken relationships and broken hearts and broken egos and broken emotions because we don't know the difference between the two. So what happens is we are extending trust when we should only be extending forgiveness. Somebody ought to be typing this in the comments. We are extending trust when we should be extending forgiveness. Thank you, Cal. Let me tell you what I mean by this. See, you should always be able to forgive. You should always be quick to forgive. Forgiving and trusting are two different things. Here's what happens. Forgiving somebody frees you of the bondage that was brought on by the betrayal of somebody else. Forgiveness is simply to cancel a debt. Forgiveness is simply to say, I don't want to walk away holding this. I don't want to walk away with this bondage on me because I won't forgive you. I want to be free of that cross that I'm bearing because I won't forgive you. You can forgive and still not trust. Now somebody's gonna want to say, wait, what? See, you forgive somebody so that you don't walk around always feeling like they owe you something. Oh yeah, we got to tell the truth on Mic Drop Monday. This is what it's about. See, when we don't forgive somebody, we're still waiting for them to do something. We're waiting for an apology. We're waiting for an explanation. We're waiting for restitution. I need you to make up for what you did. I need you to tell me you're sorry. I need you to give me an explanation. Why did you cheat? Why did you steal? Why did you tell my business? Why? When you forgive somebody, you cancel that debt. You release yourself of needing them to do something for you. But hear me, a lot of times we're extending our trust when we should only be extending our forgiveness. Now, let me tell you, I said last week that you can't grow without letting go. And so a lot of times we don't grow, we don't mature, we don't move on because we're still holding on to unforgiveness. But we have to release those people. We have to release that issue. We have to release that hurt. That is forgiveness. But so oftentimes and I'm going to say it again because it was a mic drop, we're extending our trust when we should only be extending our forgiveness. Now somebody's going to say, that's not scriptural. Oh yeah, let me take you to the Bible real quick. The Bible says, be careful and be mindful about putting your trust or your confidence in man. You should only trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not into your own understanding. But the Bible says don't put your trust in princes. I don't care how rich he is. I don't care how royalty she is. Listen to me. People are fallible. They can betray you. They will walk away. They will flunk. They will mess up. And so when we're supposed to be giving them our forgiveness, instead we're giving them our trust. And then we're looking around surprised at why in the world did they come back around and still turn around and exploit me? What happened? Hear me. This is going to help a lot of us get free when we realize that I can forgive you, but I can still say, wait a minute, I don't have to put my trust in you because you exploited me. You took advantage of me. You left me out there uncovered. You neglected me. You abused me. Wait a minute. I can't trust me with you on that angle. You're showing me that I can forgive you and let that go, but that trust is a whole nother beast, baby. Now, here is what happens when you have defaulted on your loan. You didn't pay it. You didn't come through. The bank repossessed the car. Well, here you go. My husband said that you can still go back to another dealership, not that one, and try to apply to get another car. However, there are consequences. Y'all better hear me tonight as I'm dropping this mic. And those of you guys that are just coming on, please help me by pressing this share button, because so many of us have been in relationships where our trust has been betrayed. And if you guys are just coming on, you got to go back to the beginning and watch and listen to the car scenario that I talked about trust. I talked about how our trust is expensive, but we're giving it away for free without checking the person's credit to see if they can even afford afford our trust. We're just giving it away free, and it's valuable and expensive. My next mic drop, I just said that a lot of us are extending forgiveness. Extending our trust when we should only be extending our forgiveness. There is a difference between trusting somebody and forgiving them. Forgiveness frees us of the bondage of carrying around the weight of what they did to us. Forgiveness clears us of the debt so that we're not waiting for them to say they're sorry, so that we're not waiting for them to come back and give us restitution, so that we're not waiting for them to give us an explanation about why they did what they did. Forgiveness frees us. But our trust, we can hold on to. And I just backed it up with the scripture that says, even the word says, don't put your confidence and your trust in man. You trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not into your own understanding. But a lot of us are extending our trust when we should only be extending our forgiveness. And this is what gets us into the plot that we're in, that we find ourselves in. Now, I'm going to go back to my car scenario. He said that after you messed up, you didn't pay. You said you were going to pay for the car. You said you can afford it. Your references said that you were good on your word, and you still didn't pay for that car. Well, the bank repossesses it. Number one, I just said. Number two, you've defaulted on that loan. They don't have to do what they said they were going to do because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. And number three, now there's a derogatory remark on your credit. Now, he said that you can still go and try to get a car somewhere else. But guess what? Three things happen. Number one, he said, you got to go through that whole process all back over again. What? See, this is what happens when our trust is broken, when we betray somebody's trust. Now we got to start all the way back over. Now we've got to build confidence again. Now we've got to say, listen, I can afford your trust again. Really? Where are your references? Prove it. How can you show me? Plus now there are some derogatory remarks on our record because we just defaulted on the loan that we just took out. So some of us want people to just trust us again. We do them any kind of way. We tell them we were going to do something and we mess up, and we expect them to just give them why don't you just trust me? We want them to just forgive us, which I said we can do freely, but now we want them to trust us again. What? Oh, no, that's not even biblical. See, now you've got to go through this process again. Number one, now you have derogatory remarks on your record. But number two, he said, the interest rate that you pay this time around, guess what? It's even higher. And number three, you have to pay higher bank fees. And for what? Now, just because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. This is what happens when we betray trust. Like I said, trust is expensive. And there are a lot of people who have betrayed the trust of somebody else. And they're mad because you're not treating them the same. Of course not. Listen, I read a quote today that said, I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from this point on, I can't believe you. Huh? I was like, wow. Do you understand what I'm saying? The quote said, I'm not just upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on, I'm not able to believe you. Thank you guys so much that are giving me these wonderful words of affirmation. I always go back after the show is over and read your comments and respond. So I really, really appreciate it. Those of you guys that are just coming on, please do me a favor and press the share button, because this is the only way that I can get the word out to somebody else that might be dealing with trust issues. And I'm all the way live tonight. So let me give you guys a real life example. And this was a really big epiphany for me. There's a movie. I don't know if you guys saw Justice League. But there's one of the characters that's in Justice League, and his name was Cyborg. And Cyborg was part human, but he was part machine. And so what happened with Cyborg is part of the things that were built into him, he was the result of a bad experiment. And so what his dad did was he didn't want to lose his son. So he replaced some of his human parts that he lost with machinery. Well, what happened was his machinery came with built-in defense systems. I hope y'all can feel it that I'm already about to drop a mic. So what happened was Cyborg, he's on this team with all of the Justice League, with everybody else. Wonder Woman's there and Flash and all the other people that are on the team. Now he's on the good side. But there's a scene when they confront Superman. And at that point, Superman is not quite sure who he is. And so Superman is kind of being aggressive. Well, Cyborg is standing there, and all of a sudden, his suit starts to rev up. His guns start to stand up and light up. And the other members of the team are saying, whoa, hey, Cyborg, he's our friend. Calm down. What are you doing? Cyborg said something that was a mic drop moment. He said, I'm not doing that. My body is built to defend itself when it feels like I am in danger or when somebody is threatening me. So even though I'm seeing this person and I'm saying, I know that they're not a threat, what they're doing, the way he's looking at me, is making some things in my body start to flash. And all of a sudden now, my defense system has woke all the way up. Isn't that just like what we do? When we get around a person that has, thank you, Sharon, that's a mic drop. When we get around people who have betrayed our trust, who have done something to show us that their integrity is not intact, all of a sudden we start sensing danger. We start sensing, wait a minute. This person might do something to me. This person might attack me. This person might come at me the wrong way. And all of a sudden, our defenses go up. Our guns get ready. We ready to pop off. We're ready to say, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. I'm not going to be taken advantage of. I'm not going to be done any kind of way. And all of a sudden, in our head, we start saying, some of our defense mechanism is to shut down. Well, I won't be trusting them again. Oh no, they won't be taking advantage of me this time. So we'll shut down. We'll build a wall and we'll say, no, limited access only. You can't get to me. Our defense comes up because we tell ourselves, no, you're not going to hurt me. No, you're not going to embarrass me. No, you're not going to shame me. No, you're not going to mistreat me. And without warning, because we sense danger, we're trying to protect ourselves. And all of our armor goes on. And all of a sudden now we're ready to fight. Because somewhere in us, our defenses rose up. Here's the crazy thing that happens though. Even though we're not experiencing hurt because we've built a wall of fortitude around ourselves, we're really not experiencing happiness either. We're just sitting around waiting for something else to happen. We're waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're waiting for somebody to mistreat us. And so now is the time where I deal with trust issues. This is part 2 of tonight's Mic Drop Monday. And I hope you guys, as we go into second gear, I hope you guys are pressing the share button. Like I said, you guys are so wonderful about sharing this every time you guys come on. I'm so appreciative that you guys always come through. And I appreciate so much that you guys share this on your different pages. If you are a part of a group or a community, or you have other pages that you have on Facebook, please do me a favor and share this video with everybody, because I promise you I'm saying some stuff tonight. I'm dropping truth bombs all over the place. If you came on late, make sure you go watch it from the beginning, because that car scenario and that credit scenario that I gave you is going to take you out of here. So make sure you go back and watch it. Now, I always tell you that you can't fix what you won't face. And so as we go into part 2, thank you, Christy. I appreciate you guys for watching. And thank you. I appreciate that, Bruce. As we go into part 2, thank you, Dontoria. I am going to give you 5 signs that you may have trust issues. It's okay, Camille Pollard. I appreciate you for coming on and watching. So make sure that you guys are sharing this, because it's going to help somebody tonight. Now, here are 5 signs that you may have trust issues. And I want to put a disclaimer out there. A lot of times we like to make our trust issues just be about our significant others. But there are those of us that have trust issues with our parents, with our co-workers, with our brothers or our sisters, our family members. Some of us have trust issues with our friends, people that we grew up with, people that we thought that would always protect us, people that we thought would always cover us. There are those of us that have trust issues. It's not just in relationships with our significant others, but there are those of us that have trust issues. And so tonight, as I always say, there's help, there's hope, there's healing. Hey, Teresa, thank you for coming on. And so again, if you came on late, you gotta watch that credit application part 1 that I just gave, because it's really gonna show you how you start opening yourself up for trust, because a lot of this we mess up. Thank you, Mr. Hubbard. I appreciate it. All right. Number 1. And if you see yourself in this, all you have to do is type 3 words. I see me. Because a lot of times people think that they're the only ones. And when you guys share like you so freely do, then you help somebody else to know, whoa, it's not just me with trust issues. Wow, there's somebody else that's dealing with this. Now, there are a lot of different kind of trust issues, but tonight I'm only going to talk about 5 big signs that you may have trust issues. And like I just said, this may not just necessarily be with the significant others. This could be with your family members. This could be with people that you go to church with. This could be with people at your job. This could be anywhere. Trust issues are real, and we have to face it so that we can fix it. Now, number 1, the first sign of a trust issue, you check behind him or her. I'm dropping bombs tonight. They say they were going to go somewhere. And I want somebody to type this in the comments. You guys help me when you do this. And say 5 signs that you have trust issues. Number 1, and please type this in for me. It really helps me. You check behind him or her. What do I mean? They say they were going to go somewhere. You driving by, creeping, trying to see. He said he was at Applebee's. Let me go see. He said he went to the store. Let me see. That was the grocery store. It take 5 minutes to get there and 5 minutes to get back. Oh, okay. Or they were on the phone talking and they said that was work. Let me see the number. Are you trying to listen in? You trying to check behind? Was that real? Well, what did they call from work talking about? Hey, that's a sign. Or they say that they're going to take care of the situation. They say, hey, don't worry about it. I got it. But you're saying, let me just call and make sure. Let me just get somebody else to do it. Let me just see about this. You check behind him or her. That is a sign. Thank you guys that are typing it in. That is a sign that you, my friend, may have trust issues. That means somewhere you're saying, I don't really believe you're capable of doing what you said that you were going to do. Listen, thank you guys for being honest and saying, I see me. Thank you, Alexia. This is how we get free, because we face it. Oh, that's me. This is what we have to admit. You're saying to yourself, ultimately, I don't believe in their word. I don't believe that they're going to do what they said they're going to do. So let me check behind them. When did they say they were going to do it? I don't believe it. I need to go and see for myself. I need to make sure. This is a big indicator that we have trust issues. Thank you guys that are saying that you see yourself. I'm so grateful that this is resonating with you guys. I see me. So that's number 1. You have trust issues if, number 1, you check behind him or her. Number 2, and this is one that you might not have even thought is one. Number 2, you have trust issues if you always think of the worst case scenario. What? They missed your call. Oh, they must be booed up with somebody else. That's why they couldn't answer the phone. They forgot to pay a bill. Oh, so they must be somewhere spending my money. They can't take care of business. They stopped to get gas on the way home. Oh, they must be cheating because they said they were going to the store and coming right back. You think of the worst case scenario in your head automatically. Whatever is all the way left, you immediately go there. Listen, this is a real situation. You always, number 2, think of the worst case scenario. Thank you guys for admitting it. Automatically. You don't ever think of the stuff, well, maybe they didn't text me back right away because they're in a meeting. Or maybe you don't think logically. Maybe they just didn't answer because they said they were going somewhere. Maybe they're in a bad area and they're not really getting good reception. They didn't answer because they with somebody. They didn't answer because she's sneaking around. She's not where she's supposed to be. She's not doing what they're supposed to do. If you automatically go all the way left, go all the way to the, and sometimes you have to laugh at yourself and say, oh, now listen, that's so far-fetched. I know what happened. Yeah, when you were sitting at home and then you got a text and then 5 minutes later, all of a sudden you got to go to the store, and then you went to the store, and then I called you, but then you didn't answer the phone, and then you were supposed to get right back, and then 40 minutes came back. Worst case scenario, you got a girlfriend, you got a boyfriend, you cheating. All of a sudden, if you just jump all the way left, that is an indication, my friends, that you could have trust issues. Thank you guys for telling the truth and saying, I see me. I know, Camille, sometimes I have to go all the way left so that people can see. Sometimes we'll just take it too far. But even if you just automatically start thinking of worst case scenarios, it is an indication that there's something in you that's saying, even if it's your kid, maybe they took your child somewhere and they didn't answer the phone, and all of a sudden you're saying, oh goodness, did they get in a car accident? What happened? I bet they did something and she forgot to do this or he forgot. All of a sudden you're thinking of the worst case scenario. Automatically, somewhere you might not admit it, but you're saying, I don't really trust him with her. I don't really trust that situation. There's something that I didn't trust. Hey, Tammy, thank you for watching for the first time. And so I said, number one, signs that you may have trust issues is if, number one, you check behind that person, and number two, you think of worst case scenarios. Now, number three, you could have trust issues if your leash is tight. That's number three. And by leash, I mean L-E-A-S-H, leash, like a leash that you put around somebody's neck. Oh man, let me give you an example. You have rules about everything and you monitor anything. All right, if I text you, you got 5 minutes to text me back. All right, well, if I say something to you, if I call you, more than once, then that second time, if you don't call me back, then I'm going to assume this and this and this. You got rules about, well, you can talk to him, but now you can't be talking to her. You can click on their page, on their picture on Facebook, but now you can't click that. If your leash is tight, if all of a sudden you get territorial and you start feeling threatened by everybody, even if that person is with you or for you, everybody makes you feel territorial. Wait a minute. You can talk to everybody but them. If your leash is tight, you have all of these rules, and some of the rules aren't even necessary. If some of them are not even realistic, hear me what I am saying to you. You, my friend, could be having trust issues. If that leash is tight, you got to come home at this time. You get off of work at what time? Okay, you got about a 15-minute break, and then I need you here. I should be expecting you to be walking in the door at this time. If your leash is tight, listen, that could mean that you have trust issues. And some of us know that we'll be like, hey, you didn't call me. You must have got off of work late. What happened? Because, usually you call me when you first get off, but what's going on? Hear me now, y'all. Trust issues. Number 4. Here is one. And a lot of times we see this one way, but we really don't see it the other way. And so this is a real eye opener. And everybody won't admit this one because some of us have been the victims of it, but some of us have been guilty of it. Experts say, well, let me give you number 4. Number 4, you could have trust issues if you cheat. I'm going to let that simmer for a moment. If you cheat, that is an indication that you have trust issues. Let me explain why. Surprisingly enough, experts say that if you cheat, you're the one with trust issues. Cheating is often a direct indicator that that person doesn't have trust in themselves, or it's linked to low self-esteem. You hear what I'm saying? Hey, LaTanya, cheating says, I don't trust you. I don't trust me either. Cheating is a direct indicator that there is something that is a trust issue. See, experts say that trust issues and cheating is linked to low self-esteem. Sometimes you don't trust yourself, or they don't trust themselves to be the person you need. And so they're saying, I don't think I'm who they need. I know I'm not giving them what they need. They're going to find somebody better. Their self-esteem is low, so they're cheating. Or you're cheating because you're saying, you know what? I know I'm no good for this person. You know what? I know that I am really not the best. I'm insecure and I really have low self-esteem about, am I the right person for him? Am I the right person for her? And so you'll cheat. Hey, Sylvia, I'm telling you, these are mic drops. Some of these things are stuff that we never thought about. But here is an indication. Experts say that cheating, that's right, Alicia was my figure of speech. Cheating is an indicator of trust issues. Sometimes we see the action, but we don't understand what is a reaction of. And so cheating, experts say, is saying that there is some low self-esteem. There is some issues somewhere. If you're the person cheating, you're really thinking to yourself, I'm not who I need to be. I don't really trust myself with this person that I'm going to do right. And so I'm going to tip out because they don't really deserve me. What you're doing is you're self-sabotaging. And if somebody is cheating on you, they are self-sabotaging. Somewhere they know you deserve better. Somewhere you won't stop holding on to them. Sometimes we get so desperate in situations that we hold on to people, and the person we're holding on to knows that you shouldn't trust them. The person we're holding on to knows that they're not doing us any good. The person we're holding on to is looking at us saying, sweetie, I'm not doing anything but bringing you down. But sometimes our level of insecurity is so deep that we'll hold on to that person, hey, April, and they'll cheat because there is trust issues. They know that they're not the right person for us, and so they will sabotage the relationship. And what will we do? I just said to you at the beginning that our trust needs to be treated as something expensive that not everybody can afford. Number 5. You could have trust issues if you test your love. Listen at this. This is a big one. If you're always putting somebody up for a test, you're refusing to be happy. You're refusing to compromise. You try to keep the relationship in a state of stagnation. You're saying, I'm going to test your ability not to cheat. I'm not going to be with you. I'm not going to spend quality time. I'm not going to be intimate with you, but I'm going to test it to see if you're going to still stay faithful to me. What? You'll set yourself in a no-win situation. You'll test the person. Well, I'm going to see if they still want me even if I pull back from them. Huh? How oxymoronic is that? We'll pull away because we're trying to test. Well, let me see how they feel if I don't do this. Well, let me see what happens after 3 days of me not doing this. You're testing the relationships, trying to see if this is what's going to happen, trying to see what will happen. You're testing. Listen, that is a sign that there is a trust issue going on with you. And now you guys know I never ever end these segments without telling us, how can we fix it? How can we get better? I hope you guys are pressing the share button. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Camille said that every time I speak, that it's always something that needs to be confirming. And I appreciate you for covering me daily. I appreciate all of you guys that always watch me. I hope you guys cover me. I hope you guys support me and pray for me. I hope you guys follow me on social media everywhere. Like I said, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Periscope, I'm on Twitter. Make sure that you're following me because next year I'm going to be offering some other things on some different platforms, and I want to make sure that you guys are following me everywhere, because when I go live on Instagram, I want this same crew going live with me. When I go live on Periscope, I want this same crew going live with me. So make sure that you guys are following me on across all platforms, because I really want to always keep offering things that are real, raw, and relevant. Now, before I let you guys go, I always end it with something positive that's going to help us. How do you overcome trust issues in a relationship? Number 1, you improve communication. See, you've got to back away from monitoring their activities. You're not communicating when you're stalking. You're not communicating when you're trying to see, let me see, usually when he comes in, he takes off this and he's going to do this. You're not communicating when you do this. Oh, Camille, my Instagram name is Elisa LaShell, ELISA LASHELL. That's my name everywhere, on Twitter, on Periscope, on Instagram, Elisa LaShell. So make sure you guys find me. So number one, the first thing that you do is improve communication. You have to back away from monitoring the other person's activities. Usually when we start to lose trust with somebody, we think we got to watch them. Let me see what they're posting on Facebook. Let me see what they're talking about today. He said he was doing this, but let me go to his messenger and see how long ago. Oh, he was active 5 minutes ago, but I texted him 5 minutes ago. Listen, if you want to overcome your trust issues and improve communication, one way to improve communication is to pull back from monitoring that person's activities. The other way to improve your communication is talk openly. Listen, if they're going out and you feel yourself starting to feel some kind of way about it, have the conversation. If you want to know where they're going, open up your mouth like a grown woman or a grown man and say, hey, what are you about to do? 9 times out of 10, if they want you to trust them, guess what? They'll tell you. And so a lot of times what we'll do is we'll just sit there and we'll live in distrust when we could literally just communicate better and get answers. People will talk. But the other thing about it is when we're ready to communicate, we have to learn that we don't have to be in a blaming tone. We don't have to be all in their face, because when we're not calm and we're not friendly, guess what? I just told you all what happened on Justice League. Cyborg automatically, when he sensed that that other person was going to come at him some kind of way without even trying to, his guns went up. His defense system went all the way up. And he said, listen, I'm not doing that. But when my body senses that somebody's going to do something to me, all of a sudden I get defensive. We've got to make sure that we disarm the other person by speaking calmly. If we want to ask them, hey, where you going? Where are you going? What you about to do? No, we don't have to do that. We can simply have an adult, calm conversation and just start talking about it, because it will make us feel comfortable. The second thing, name instead of blame. Do you hear what I'm saying tonight? Name instead of blame. If you, instead of saying, I think you over there texting your boo, just simply say, listen, I'm uncomfortable when we're together. You always get so secretive with your phone. Name the thing that's making you uncomfortable. Y'all know my life's mantra is you can't fix what you won't face. So instead of blaming them and saying what they're doing, I know you went out there to go cheat. Just name what it is. Listen, it makes me feel a little funny, when you were at home and all of a sudden your phone rang and it's like all of a sudden you have to go. What if that person turned around and said, do you want to come with me? Wait, what? All of a sudden your trust is restored, because instead of blaming, we should learn how to name. Number 3, seek outside help. Sometimes you don't have all the answers. Sometimes we got a little crazy man in our head and a little demon and a little angel sitting on our shoulder. And every time we try to do right, evil is always present with us. We try to talk ourselves from going left. You know what? That man could just be, yes, he is, girl. That's what he's doing. So sometimes we have to seek outside help. Listen. There are therapists, there are counselors, there is clergy, there are people that are able to help us talk and communicate better. Some of us don't know how to have an adult conversation without jumping up and storming away. If you guys follow me on social media, you'll know that 2 Mondays ago, I did this huge mic drop about, are you an emotional bully? And I talked about what happens with us when we get emotional and how we don't learn how to communicate, how we react instead of respond. So listen. Sometimes you may have to find some outside counsel that will help you. Sometimes you and a friend, or you and your husband, or you and your, significant other, y'all can't get it together having a conversation. And sometimes it takes a third party that doesn't have anybody's side. They're just listening. They're there to hear what's going on. Sometimes it takes somebody else that's there to kind of balance it. They're there to not have any judgment. And there is nothing wrong with seeking outside help. So here is the other thing, and this is a huge one. Number 4, work through your insecurities. I'm going to say that again. Work through your insecurities. A lot of times, if you feel insecure in the relationship, if you feel unworthy of a person's love, if you feel unworthy of a person's attention, if you feel unworthy of the support that they're trying so hard to give you, a lot of times what you will do is you'll sabotage the relationship before you even have an opportunity for it to bloom. You'll just sabotage it. You have to learn how to build up your own self-esteem. You have to say, wait a minute, I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of support. I'm worthy of somebody treating me right. It's okay that he treats me like a queen. It's okay that I treat him like a king. It's okay that she does nice things for me. It's okay that he offered to help me out with that. But a lot of times when we don't spend any time building our self-esteem, we'll let our insecurities kill the relationship, because in our head, we're thinking that they're going to leave us for somebody better. Oh, I'm talking good tonight. We always think, you know what? They don't really want me anyway. They don't really love me. I don't really deserve them. So they're going to leave me for somebody. And our insecurities will kill a relationship, and it will take away the trust, and we'll do it to ourselves. You have to develop yourself as an individual. Trust has everything to do with depending on somebody else. The very first thing that I said at the beginning of this segment was that trust was defined as the reliance on the integrity, the strength, the ability, and the assurance of somebody else. But here's a cold, hard truth. People are fallible. That means that individuals are likely to mess up. We are humans. We have all sinned and fallen short. None of us will be perfect until we are out of these bodies full of flesh and full of foolishness. Hear me. We don't always operate in integrity. Sometimes we're weak. Our abilities are finicky, and we are not 100% reliable. I don't care how good somebody is to you. I don't care how much they love you. Sometimes we can tell you, listen, I will be there for you, but something happens that's outside of our ability to control, and we don't make it. Something happens and we're not able to make good on our promises. And sometimes when we have such a dependency on somebody else, and we don't spend time developing ourselves as an individual, when that person messes up, when they've dropped the ball, we will fall apart. Oh, we will just shatter. We won't know how to come back for this. And so for these reasons alone, it is imperative that you develop yourself as an individual. How do you do that? Well, number one, you have to explore your interests and your hobbies. There's something that you do good. There's some other people that you can mingle with. It's a good outlet for stress. Engage with other people. You can volunteer. You can find a group. You can get support from family and friends. And listen at this. This is a mic drop. Even if they can't help, they can hear. Did you hear what I said? Even if they can't help, they can hear. Sometimes the only thing we really need is a listening ear. Somebody to just hear us. Sometimes we'll figure out how foolish we really are talking and thinking if we can just get it out of our mouth and talk to somebody else. We have to learn how to manage our emotions in a healthy way. We don't have to scream and shout like a 5-year-old, throw a tantrum, throwing stuff all on the ground, shutting down, getting an attitude. There is a way to manage our emotions that is healthy. We have to figure out if we're dealing with anxiety or insecurity or we're suspicious. We have to learn how to cope with those emotions before we lash out to another individual. Next to the last thing, recognize your past hurt. Acknowledge the things that caused you to shut down. Acknowledge the things that caused you to be suspicious. Acknowledge the thing that caused you to take away your trust. Sometimes you'll find that it's not even the person that you're in the relationship right now that did it. Sometimes it's something that happened 20 years ago. Sometimes it's something that happened 10 years ago. Sometimes it happened in your house when you were a child and you don't even realize that you're carrying that betrayal with you right now in your adult relationships, and it's causing your trust. You can't fix what you won't face. That's what, right, Ray? Thank you for joining. It's baggage. Last but not least, how do you overcome trust issues? Know yourself. You know you. You know when you feel yourself going left. You know when your insecurities are kicking in. You know when you're just holding on to somebody because you're lonely and don't know how to operate on your own. You know when you've extended trust instead of forgiveness. I did this as a mic drop earlier, and if you guys are just coming on, you got to go back and watch it earlier. I said that a lot of us are giving out trust when we should only be giving out forgiveness. It is okay to forgive somebody, but still not trust them. A lot of times we stay in relationships past its expiration date. We know that this person has damaged our trust and that it is irreconcilable. There is no reason that you can still stay with the person where the trust has been completely shattered. And yet, what we will do, we will not just extend forgiveness, but we'll give them, the same person, new opportunities to exploit us, to betray us. And we will stay in a cycle of unforgiveness. We'll stay in a cycle of stagnation, and the other person will let us. All because of our inability to deal with trust. Listen, I hope you guys enjoyed this segment tonight.